welcome to Year 12's Grand Second World War reenactment. Okay, just to make the cast really clear, over there is Adolf Hitler. Over here, give us a wave, is Mussolini and his mistress. This is France, and this is the Italian army. Thank you very much. Okay, so Italy's involvement in the Second World War begins when Mussolini decides that it's the right moment, it feels like the right opportunity to try to invade France. So he declares war on France on the 10th of June 1940. He thinks he can get a share in the peace if he's able to beat France at the last minute. So, Italian army advance.
Avanti!
Unfortunately for the Italian army, the French put up a rather more serious resistance than expected. And so the Italian army was actually unable to achieve very much. They captured only 13 villages for the loss of 631 men. Pretty embarrassing if you're the Italian army. Italian army died! Very much. So, Mussolini's pretty embarrassed by this. Mussolini, you're embarrassed, aren't you?
I'm so embarrassed.
And Hitler is kind of outraged. And so Mussolini decides that the next best alternative is to try to attack the British Empire in Egypt. So Mussolini's going to need to move to Rome, the Italian army is going to reconstitute in Libya, and the British army is going to go to Egypt with their British flag.
Avanti!
So, Mussolini sends his army from Libya into Egypt.
Avanti!
Avanti!
But the British have a cunning plan.
Ahoy chaps, let's lure them into Egypt and counter-attack.
Okay, and they're lured into Egypt, and we're going to just pause there for a moment, because what is also happening on the other part of the side of the Mediterranean, Italian army, go over towards Hitler, is the Italian army have also decided, British flag down, to attack Greece.
Avanti!
But unfortunately, Mussolini's made some serious mistakes. He thinks he only needs 60,000 men to beat the pathetic Greeks. Yep, they're just all about eating the salad and that sort of thing. Yeah, but the Italian army is better than that, and they managed to hold off the Italians. The Greek army managed to hold off the Italians. Because there's 300,000 Greek soldiers, which is far more than Mussolini thought. So Mussolini's again pretty embarrassed. Mussolini, you're looking pretty embarrassed over there. And Hitler is once again pretty annoyed. And Mussolini has to ask for help.
Hitler!
Yeah.
Help!
Okay, and Hitler decides to help. So he sends his army into Greece. Sends his army into Greece. And the German army is able, I will take it from here, chaps, to defeat the Greek army in about 2 weeks, when it had taken the Italians 6 months to make no gains at all. Bang, 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 bang. You're all dead. We are the masters now. Bang. Okay, so that's Greece. Meanwhile, at an Italian naval base in Taranto, there is an Italian battleship sitting in the harbour. Just off the coast of Italy is a British aircraft carrier. I'll just get the British flag. A British aircraft carrier. Ahoy there, chaps! And the British aircraft carrier is loaded with fairy swordfish torpedo bombers. This is the torpedo. And the fairy swordfish torpedo bombers are sent off on a dangerous mission. Go and destroy those battleships over there. And they're sent forward, and the torpedoes are released, and it hits the battleship.
Whoa!
And the battleship sinks. And so the Italian navy is rendered pretty ineffective for the rest of the war. Okay, back to Egypt, where the British have deployed their cunning plan of retreating into Egypt and luring the Italians into a trap. Avanti!
Avanti!
But the British are able to sneak round the side to capture the Italians.
Sorry, we surrendered!
And the Italians managed to lose 380,000 soldiers captured by just 30,000 British soldiers in about 6 months. Once again, Hitler is outraged. and he calls on his best general.
Irving,
Ja, mein Führer.
heil me.
Heil Hitler.
We need you to go into Egypt.
Egypt.
Egypt! And help the Italians out once again.
Ja, mein Führer.
Yeah.
And the Germans are sent to help out the Italians, and they're able to kind of just hold back the British for a bit, but eventually the Italian rescue some of the Italians. But by May 1943, they are pushed out of northern Africa with the help of the Americans, and they're pushed back to Sicily. Okay, the British in northern Africa are planning their next move.
Yeah. Woo.
Woo, we've won.
Yeah, God save us.
And then the British decide with the Americans to invade Sicily, which they forget where the Germans are, and the Italians. But the Germans and Italians don't put up much resistance. They get pushed out of Sicily and retreat to the Italian mainland. No Avanti anymore. No. And the British and the Americans are able to occupy Sicily. Okay. At about the time that this is happening, a British bomber force is sent to Rome. Arms out. Meow. And Mussolini and his mistress cower in each other's arms in the air raid shelter. Thank you, that's very good. Mussolini is then summoned to see the king, King Victor Emmanuel, who is, of course, as we know, a very short man. Mussolini,
Hello.
you are terrible. You are a rubbish leader. You are fired. Mussolini thinks that that means he can just walk off and carry on with the dictatorship as normal. He tries to go back to be comforted by the arms of his mistress. But unfortunately, the Italian army is there and they arrest Mussolini.
My beautiful. You are under arrest.
They take him away from the arms of his mistress to prison in northern Italy. Hitler once again is furious. Furious, get it? And he orders an elite commando force to go and rescue Mussolini. Go and rescue Mussolini.
No.
How do you know?
Bang.
Ah.
Come with us.
They rescue Mussolini and he's reunited in the arms of his mistress. Oh, how lovely, how adorable. And then basically what happens is Italy's divided into two sections. So southern Italy, which the Allies have liberated. Thank you, sorry. Have liberated. And northern Italy, where a new fascist republic is set up. This leads to a lot of kind of low-level warfare in northern Italy, with partisans, sneaky little fighters, fighting against the fascists in northern Italy in a really brutal and unpleasant struggle, with the Germans carrying out vicious reprisals on anybody who dares to help the Italian anti-fascists. But eventually, Mussolini and his mistress are captured by the partisans. They are executed. Both together executed. And just like the Titanic, except they both die, and they're strung up by their ankles and piano wire. They're hysterically strung up. You don't have to actually be strung up, and this ends Italy's sad involvement in the Second World War. A couple of weeks later, a few weeks later, Hitler, in his bunker in Berlin, commits suicide.
Scheiße.
And that is the end of the Second World War.